All right, back with Tuesday with Thompson, Pete Thompson. Talk a little Sixers and Raptors. What else is going on? I know the LPGA Media Day is next week. I know the PT's not thrilled about not being a part of that. Are you, PT?
Well, I hate missing any type of free golf event, that's for sure. But, hey, by the way, in honor of, what is his name, James Butler, according to Brett Brown, I'd like to be called Peter Thompson.
Yeah, but Butler said that his name is Jimmy. It's not James. It's actually Jimmy.
He did say that, which was hilarious because the reporters were just like, you lead off with a PT type question, right? A little softy there, a little fun, a little humor. And Jimmy, very seriously, was like, no, my name is Jimmy. It's right on my birth certificate. I'll have you know that my name is Peter on my birth certificate for those of you that are interested.
So did you watch the game last night?
You betcha. I'll tell you what. I got a little worried as it got down the stretch there, especially when they couldn't grab the loose ball at the end, and the guy jacks up a three. They couldn't hide it. Come on, get the ball.
Yeah.
I feel like the next coming of John Most.
So a lot of Brett Brown is a polarizing guy, right?
Oh yeah, I saw your Twitter back and forth. I mean, you were a busy guy before 9 o'clock this morning. You and McMullen and
this new house situation. I'm up at like 7. Right?
So you're hammering away on the Twitter.
Yeah. Well, I said people. First off, they like to argue with me, even though they actually agree with me. They just can't come to grips with that they actually agree with me.
Right. Well, I understand that.
You know what I'm saying? It's like they actually are saying the same thing I say it. It's just in a different way. And they instead of saying, I agree with you, they just continue to argue. But these Brett Brown people, people, I invited them. I asked them, hey, all you Brett Brown haters, today's a great day to say, you know what? I didn't know he had it in me. I had it in him last night, and he proved me wrong. Not one of those cowards today stepped up. Not one.
Let me guess. They're all down south of the radio station, like down near the bottom tip of the state, or is that where a lot of them reside?
I'm just saying. Right? Not one of these Brett Brown haters, not one, stepped up today. These people should be ashamed of themselves.
Well, and it's funny because I heard you inviting people to step up. I watched your Twitter back and forth. Even John McMullen came out and said, I didn't know he had it in him.
John McMullen came on the show today and did say, I didn't think he had it in him. He did admit that.
Right. I mean, you cannot discount the changes and the, ability to adapt that Brett Brown had from game 1 to game 2. And I think I heard you say, too, this is the second time now where the team's gotten blown out in game 1 of a series. And, in fact, that would be a fun thing to ask is where was the panic level more? Were Sixers fans more panicked after not showing up completely in game 1 against Brooklyn and oh my God, what is happening? Or would you say it was more panic after game 1 in Toronto where and look, lump me in there too. I very honestly thought if they continue to play the way they played in game 1, they're not even going to sniff a win in the series. It's going to be 4-0.
Haven't we learned by now, Peter? This is what baffles me. Haven't we learned by now that whatever happens in one night has no carryover or doesn't have any effect on the next game? Like in football, the Eagles lose 48-7 to the Saints. Oh, the way they played on Sunday, they quit. They looked like they gave up, and this season's over. It has no effect on what happened the next week, which I think they won 4 straight games after that.
I mean, you are doing your radio broadcast in a town where, if somebody was at the roulette wheel and it came up red 4 times, they'd put it on black because they're like, it's got to come up black. Red. Or even worse, green, 00.
But that's my point. Haven't we watched sports enough to understand, okay, you lost game 1, you look pretty bad, and people are like, well, you look like that. You don't look like that the next time. How many times do you look like that in game 1 and then look like that again in game 2? And if you do look like that again, you're probably going to get swept and beat.
Right, and be right out of there. Well, that's the beauty of it, though. I mean, would it be as compelling if we didn't have the ability to overreact and get dramatic? I mean, to me, that's why the sport is so compelling. They come out, completely lay an egg and play basically zero defense. Some of their big names, Embiid nowhere to be found, Simmons nowhere to be found in game one, right? Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris was terrible, right? You look at guys that just didn't show up in game one, and I know, because you had it on your poll, nobody out there was thinking that Monroe was going to be a key pivotal factor, or Ennis, and what he did last night. Those guys were huge. First of all, once they made the trades for these guys, they basically said the Sixers ran 5 deep, and that was it. I think they proved a lot of the league wrong last night in that game.
Well, one of the things that they did last night, too, was they made some adjustments, but, this is where, like I say, look, this is the funny part, Peter, is if the Sixers would have lost that game last night, whose fault would it have been?
Brett Brown.
Exactly. So I said...
But how much credit does he get for basically willing them to a victory?
Well, that's my point. But that's my point. Like I say, yeah, Brown deserves credit, but he's not the reason they won. See, you can't have the same guy get the credit for the victory and also be the reason why they lost. That's why blaming the coach is so idiotic. The people, if they would have lost last night, would have been blaming Brown, are the same people who said, hey, he made some good adjustments, I got to give it to him, even though those people can't even show their faces.
Yeah, well, it's so much fun to do, though. I mean, that's, look, Ben Simmons had a good game, too, defensively, and Kawhi still scored 35 points. I mean, there's certain players on the other side. Now, I heard you talking, too, the way they defended Siakam, and Siakam was off last night, but it's nice to see him fall back to earth. I mean, that was the thing, Yes, you can't overreact. One game doesn't carry to the other, but you have to give Brett Brown some credit, not all the credit. You got to give the players credit, too. He's not out there running. He's not out there dunking.
No, I mean, look, again, I give him the credit for making the adjustments, but if he makes those adjustments and Greg Monroe comes in and stinks it up again like he did in Game 1 against the Nets, people are saying, this guy's an idiot for playing Monroe again.
Well, look, that to me, ultimately, that's the beauty of it, is like, why is it so compelling? Because we live in the overreaction, quick to blame, quick to judge, and you and I both know, because we've both been bosses in our lives, right? It's better when you criticize in private, praise in public. But as a society, we're completely opposite. Let's rip everybody apart and, like Scrooge McDuck, be real miserly to actually give out a compliment when the guy does something right.
Yeah, no, and look, I'm not even on the irrational side to suggest that they won the game because of Brown. I think his adjustments were a certain help and needed to get them there. But if Ben Simmons doesn't play very good defense, if Joel Embiid, by the way, I thought is not getting enough credit for the defense that he played last night on Pascal Siakam. I thought that was a big difference maker in the game.
It absolutely was. And then, the whole game, you were like, is the guy even going to make one field goal in the game? And what did he end up making? 2 of them. But one of the biggest field goals of the game was late in the clutch, where he turned and went to the window and threw it in off the glass for that big bucket near the end of the basketball game. Considering, and the PT, awful diet, right? I have little tummy issues from time to time. Listen, I can tell you, there is no way I'd be able to go out there and be effective 8 for 8 from the line and 12 points and then run around and contain Siakam too, all while having, shall we say, issues.
Yeah, that was, people were like, is this a joke? Like all the time it's something with this gas. Have you ever seen a team have so much gas?
No, but there's a solution for that. No, I did you hear Golick and Wingo this morning as Junior was saying, like, listen, at least you're in basketball shorts. God forbid you have a problem, you can run off the floor and take care of it. Try being an offensive lineman where you've got knee braces on, and once you're locked in, you're locked in. You're not getting pads your knee braces.
What did he say to – that's funny. What did he say to one of the reporters after the game yesterday?
Joel Embiid?
Yeah, he was like, did you ever have the bleeps? Like, yeah, it sucks.
Oh, yeah. And then that got them going this morning on the fact that, athletes who have actually released themselves in the southern region during it, like Merrill Hodge, I guess, against the Eagles. That gangrene defense hit Merrill Hodge so hard one time they literally hit the bleep out of them.
Right. Exactly. Oh, man. All right. Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN, Tuesday with Thompson. By the way, PT, will the fans out there get a chance to see the PT Saturday at the Blackjack inaugural game?
It's my father's birthday, so I will not be at the first Blackjacks game, but I'm sure supporting them from afar. I know.
Now, what if you? Let me ask you a question. You were in the running for the PA job.
Yes.
What if you got the PA? You called out on the first inaugural game?
No, then I would have been at Boardwalk Hall. But I'm sure my family and my father and everybody else that's in my immediate family is happy that I can be with them in Pennsylvania on Saturday. You know, listen, I gave away tickets to Shore Toyota the other day. I'm all in. I'm with you. I listened to Nick Costco and I listened to Coffee Jones and thought they did a great job in the broadcast, and I watched a little of it too. We got to teach Lou Tilley how to say Nebraska Kearney, not Kearney. But you know, and that was a dirty hit, by the way, on that sole fullback guy that, you know, he totally went helmet to helmet on the dude. You saw that play late in the game where the guy had to get carted off from the stretcher.
I did. That was unfortunate.
It's dirty, man. You can't leave with a crown on your head. You can't do that. It's 2019. What are you doing?
What else you got going on?
Well, you know, I'm
hey, by the way, why wouldn't you plug your new column? I told you, I saw, PT's got a new column. It was, you brought the Thunder.
Well, thanks, buddy. Yeah, it's called Extra Points. I had called it Pete's Ponderings or PT's Ponderings, but, you know, everybody has an editor and they want to, you know, whatever they want to go with. God bless them, Bob and Cindy. So I'm at Shore Local is where that column is. You can find it in Wawa's. You can find it in, you know, the restaurants, you know, a lot of the pizza places and small restaurants around Atlantic County, Cape May County. And, yeah, it's just kind of like my random takes. Like a lot of stuff was sports related. The first one I wrote a lot about Tiger. Made a little factual error there. If the MG had been there, he would have picked right up on that. I shorted Tiger a jacket. I said that he had 4 green jackets, when of course that was now his 5th green jacket. But and then I wrote some stuff about like Game of Thrones, how I don't understand it. I don't understand why people are in love with it and stuff like that. So
I was going to ask you, you're not a Game of Thrones guy, right?
I watched like 1 or 2, and I think what I wrote in the column it sums it up best. You know, I didn't like Dungeons and Dragons the 2 times that I played it when I was like in 7th grade. Why in the heck would I sit down and watch an hour live show of it? And you know me, I do have the maturity of a 15-year-old. Yes, occasionally in the beginning there was nudity to suck you in, but I'm not sticking around for, you know, I mean, come on. Dragons and, you know, winter is coming and White Walkers and, I'm too busy now. I can't watch that. Right
What's in your rotation now?
Well, the one show that we don't miss, and that's one I said the counterbalance is. We are a Survivor family. I've watched every season of that, going back to Richard Hatch when he used to walk around naked, speaking of naked. And
you know, I've never seen one episode of that.
Oh, it's fun. I mean, and they've tweaked it and they make changes to it. And, you know, I know, in fact, I think it was your sister, by the way, that loved Big Brother. That's not something I watch. But some of those reality shows, and Survivor was the first. Survivor I love, and then we watch Amazing Race, too. Can you imagine the MG and the PT on Amazing Race together, you know, and we're like, let's say we're in Thailand, and I'm like, all right, MG, we got to hurry up. We got to catch this tuk-tuk. And you're like, A, I don't know what a tuk-tuk is. B, my heel is killing me. C, I'm not eating cow's brains. D, how do we get to the pit stop? You know, I mean, there would be awesome, amazing, wonderful arguments.
That would be good dynamics.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Or with your significant other.
Yeah, Sixers gave up 89 points in a road playoff game last night. They win. The series is all tied 1-1. Back to Philly Thursday night, 8 o'clock, 97.3 ESPN. Sunday, 3:30 PT. I'll be there.
That's awesome. I will be en route. You know, I'll wait until the traffic thins out, and then I'll be slipping right on by the well, listening to it on the radio.
You going Phillies?
So, am I going to the Phillies?
Yeah. You got any Phillies games in the near future?
My first one coming up is going to be in that Milwaukee series. I'm going to go up for that Monday night, May the 13th.
You know what's okay? So
by the way,
I asked you this. I asked you
Monday,
this.
May 13th is Game of Thrones night. Are you kidding me?
No, it's my father's birthday.
Oh, I love your father. He's a good man.
So I asked you this because I remember a third guy begging me for something. I came through on it, and the promise was, I'm going to go to a bunch of games.
Yeah, let's do it. When are we going?
You haven't been to any.
Well, you're the one that moved into a new house.
I've been to like 10 Sixers games since I've moved.
That's true. Well, look, God forbid.
You know, I still haven't picked up my credential yet.
I'm sure we'll find a way to make that work. I'm sure you'll also count on the PT to sweet talk the Phillies media relations staff into being like, hey, listen, can you, since you already think I failed on the assignment the first time.
Oh, yeah, big time.
It was like Fort Knox. I'm telling you, man. It was much tougher.
Hey, Pete, sorry to be your editor, but Survivor was not the first reality TV series.
Sure, go ahead.
The Real World was 1992. Survivor was 1997.
But the Real World wasn't a contest. I mean, Survivor was the first one that you could win $1 million. The Real World, you just were watching But
it was a reality TV show.
Josh, Wikipedia. Mute him.
I didn't know what he was going to say. If I knew that was what he was saying, I wouldn't have turned his mic on.
You know what, Josh? I'm going to tell you what happened in Avengers Endgame. Oh, wait, you already saw it. Okay.
Did you see that, PT?
No, I have not. I'm only about 3 or 4 Avengers movies behind. How many have there been? 4? Yeah, I think I saw the first one, and that was it.
I have no clue.
PT's busy, man. I know your last movie. I'm not going to give it away because I know you like to use that sometimes as your trivia question.
All right, that's Tuesday with Thompson, Sports Bash 97.
We're going to need a half hour next time for this segment.
Yeah, well, maybe we can do something about that.